forward. We're now at research and practice. So research and practice is all about finally getting into the content, right, of what you actually need to understand about the employer and what they want from you. Now, some background. Case studies and use cases. I like to define what those are. So case studies are essentially projects that actually occurred, that organizations actually deployed and made happen. Use cases are essentially types of uses that an organization has for their actual employer's service or product or tool or technology. So let me give you an example. So right now, for solving this project challenge of COVID and creating digital equity in this actual project challenge, the use case there is that students don't have access to tools and technologies at home like Chromebook and even internet, right? So that is a use case. People don't have access to the tools and tech at home, right? So a case study for that is to address that. Oakland Unified is partnered with Twitter and CEO of Twitter's Jack Dorsey to actually fund to bridge the digital divide and actually buy Chromebooks, buy assets, buy mobile hotspots, buy more tools to actually get those Oakland students more access to technology to bridge the digital divide. That is something that's actually happening. So the difference between a use case and a case study is a use case is a type of use, so an abstract term, and then a case study essentially is the actual deployment of the real scenario with real organizations and real people. So that is the difference between a case study and a use case. So as we go into understanding what the employer put in here, essentially what they've added are a bunch of resources for you to understand more of the type of projects, the type of deployments, the type of actual things that the employer wants from you to actually develop. In this case, the California Digital Divide Task Force, buses set up with Wi-Fi hotspots, COVID-19 thrusts digital equity to the forefront, COVID lessons may boost state government digital equity work, and so forth, right? Essentially, these are a series of articles and videos and resources for you to understand more about what types of solutions the employer wants. So let's click on one. In this case, this states, State Superintendent Tony Thurmond of California announces task force to close the digital divide. What this includes essentially is this announcement that the state of California's Department of Education is launching a task force to close this digital divide of people not having access to technology, computers, and internet at home. And so this is a really big idea because if we're solving the digital divide for seniors to help grandmas how to use DoorDash, well, seniors are part of that digital divide because they're digital immigrants. And they don't have access to those tools and technologies because they don't understand it. So this is announcing, right, the potentiality of having a closer union as it relates to digital equity in our society. So this gives a very specific scenario that we want to align our project to specifically so that it actually gives our project some legs, right, and some context of what we're trying to solve for. Another one is buses set up with Wi-Fi hotspots. So this is a very specific scenario where South Carolina, the state, send Wi-Fi enabled school buses around the state for online learning. So if students can't get access to internet at home, well, we got to deploy some level of public Wi-Fi so students actually have access to internet to do their homework at home. So this is a very specific case study, right? Which is basically buses with hotspots going around the state and getting students online to do homework, right? And the use case here is basically students don't have access to Chromebooks and internet, so they need access to Chromebooks and internet. That's the use case. So this is a very specific example of a solution that is deployed right now as a case study and also a pretty high level or high demanded use case. So the employer has entered a series of these resources and examples so that you understand more about the actual project challenge. So when you read them, you have more items, thoughts, perspectives to work from, so you have a better and more successful project. And what this can do is spawn your ideation process, which is the next steps to actually create and generate what scope of problem do you want to solve? What is the solution that you want to create, right? All these resources in the use case studies gives that context. So once you're done reading them all, you want to be able to click these checkboxes to acknowledge that you have reviewed them all. And once you're done, you click next. And that is it. For the next one, we'll go into practice log.